Hi everyone, my name is Lindsay Barnt. I am the Director of Student Transitions here at the College of New Jersey, and you're tuning in to watch Transition 101, which is the presentation that I normally give at our spring open houses and our Accepted Students Day celebration. While I am so disappointed that you are having to watch it at home and I am presenting in an uncharacteristically empty Mayo Concert Hall here in the Music Building, the information is so important for you to have, and I'm so glad that I'm going to have the opportunity to share that with you today. So first things first, congratulations on your acceptance. It's funny, when I polled the audience, I've been doing this for a few years now, and every year it's the number of hands that go up when they know who the characters are in this GIF continues to go down, which makes me think that I'm getting a little bit older, but bonus points for you if you email me and you know who these individuals are. But congratulations. I hope that you're so proud of your accomplishments, not just with your acceptance to TCNJ, but all of the acceptances that you've had coming in over the course of the last few months. This presentation is going to include those watching at home could be first-year students, they could be transfer students coming in class of 2024 or our fall 2020 transfer cohort. It could be parents and guests, so hopefully all of the content, and as we get moving here, regardless of kind of where you are in that whole spectrum, the information is going to be relevant. But again, hope I'm not the first, nor am I the last person to wish you congratulations and best wishes as you are navigating this process on figuring out where you want to go to school in the fall. So, a couple of resource slides to get us started, and then the bulk of my presentation is going to be on that kind of critical May to August timeline, and I'm going to walk you through all of that. But first things first, I want to introduce you to one of your new best friends on campus if you're coming to TCNJ, and that is all of the offices that we have on the first floor of Green Hall. So Green Hall is our clock tower looking building in the picture, and we have three really important offices and support services for you that are going to be really vital in the coming months. The first, at one end of the hall, we've got student financial assistance, right? So your questions about your FAFSA, reporting your private scholarships, anything having to do with financial aid packages goes to my awesome colleagues at the end of that hall. And then, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but all the way on the other end of the first floor, as far away from financial aid as you can get, is our Office of Student Accounts. And yes, those are the people who set the payment and billing calendar, and they collect the money, but they're also responsible for a couple of other really important resources on campus. They handle all of our parking services if you're going to be parking on campus with us, and they also manage the ID card program, so that TCNG ID card, we'll talk about that in a minute. Also, student health insurance and our tuition refund insurance programs are done through student accounts. So they kind of flank both ends of the first floor of Green Hall. And then right in the middle, you have the Office of Records and Registration. This is unfortunately a presentation I normally do with them, so hi Maura, I miss you. But the Records and Registration Office, they do so much for our students, and some people that they're going to, and some topics that they're going to be working on, most specifically with you coming in the next couple of months. They evaluate AP scores and your transfer credits, right? Placement testing, and they facilitate information about that. They're the big people when it comes to registration, so questions about classes and what you're going to be taking in the fall. They're going to be an integral part to that. Grading, declaring your major or any potential minors coming down the pike for you, final exam schedules, and then of course 2, 3, 4 years from now, we don't even want to talk about that, but when you have to press that really ugly button that says intend to graduate, those are the people behind that as well. So just familiarize yourself a little bit that if you now start to have questions about any one of those topics, your breadth of information and resources and people who can help answer those questions is going to grow exponentially here once we get you matriculated and into our system there. Turning gears a little bit to talk about the Division of Student Affairs. So really important thing to take away with this slide, except for the fact that it's one of my favorite graphics because it's so colorful, is that when we took a holistic approach to reviewing your application for admission, right? We didn't just decide on yes or no based on, or yes in this case, based on one kind of element to your academic profile, right? We considered a few different things. We take that holistic approach when we look at you as a student here at TCNJ as well. So you're academic in the classroom and focusing on those pieces is super important, but we know that there's a whole lot of other stuff that goes on that makes up you as an individual. And if any one of those pieces is out of whack, that can greatly impact your performance inside of the classroom. So these offices and their website links all on this right-hand side of this slide are just a sampling. I could spend 30 minutes talking about each single one of those offices, to be honest, but just know that the depth and the support of the resources that you have on campus service is really just amazing. And these are some of my favorite colleagues who work in some of these offices, and their dedication to the students is unparalleled. So just wanted to have you know that they exist, and the course of the coming weeks and ultimately months, if you choose TCNJ, you can start to learn a little bit about the services that they provide. Lastly, just some additional student services that don't fall within enrollment management, or some within enrollment management, some within student affairs. The first is the Tutoring Center, right? So this is content-specific tutoring that supplies if you're struggling in mathematics, a calculus course, for example, or maybe some of the sciences and intro to science courses. The Center for Student Success is more of like an umbrella office here on campus, so they're less content-specific, but they're more supplementary skills. So things like note-taking or studying for finals, or big one with all of my students, whether you're coming in first year or transfer, time management, right? So some of those components that are really gonna support your ability to learn the content and do well in exams and in your classes falls under the Center for Student Success. They also advise and oversee all of our new undeclared students, our provisional student cohort, and then any of our students currently who are here who are in between majors, our undesignated students. So great advising resources. They have peer advising coaches that kind of help navigate that, but the Center for Student Success is a great tool for you, a resource for you. Our Division of Institutional Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, which is brand new within the last 2 years, again, resource for students on campus that are really focused into making sure that we're providing a space that's inclusive for everybody and celebratory of all of our differences. Our Accessibility Resource Center, so if you're somebody who's looking for either an academic or a housing accommodation, ARC is going to be the resource and the office to reach out to get paperwork started and questions answered about those pieces. And then lastly, our Career and Leadership Development Office. So they kind of merged too, so within the last year and a half or so, they've come together. Truthfully, a huge reason that students are choosing TCNJ right now is because of our outcomes. They're getting jobs, they're getting great placement into graduate schools, medical school programs, and a huge chunk of that is because of the work that that office does, not only in just kind of preparing you for the technical stuff you're learning in the classroom, but all of those soft skills that employers are telling us and graduate schools are telling us that they're looking for undergraduates to have to be able to bring to their programs and their offices across the country. So, just something to look at as well in the coming weeks and days. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Get in your seats. Get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea if you haven't already, because giddy up, it's time to go. May 2020. As of this taping, I believe the national deposit deadline is still May 1st, right? So you have to decide, if you haven't already, that that's where you're gonna go to school no later than May 1st, which falls on a Friday this year. So you have a little bit more than 6 weeks. The first week in May, lots of things are gonna start happening. First of which, most importantly, is that you're gonna get matriculated. Up until this point, the only person who knows you really on campus or can see you is the Office of Admissions. They've been answering all of your questions, and in terms of electronically across campus, I can't see who any of you are. All of that changes when we matriculate you. It's a very fancy process. We call it throwing you over the wall. And when we do that, all of a sudden, everybody else on campus can see your electronic record, right, and who you are. How will you know that that has happened? You're gonna get an email to the address that you used on your application that says, hey, your TCNJ email address has been created. Go here to set it up, all right? Google Apps, if you go to today.tcnj.edu, all of those icons on the top bar are how you access our online resources and tools. And Google Apps, that first one is what you're gonna do for your email. Go in, set it up. This leads me to Roscoe's tip number 1. He couldn't be here today. I don't have a scary mask, but I've created my hair so it looks a little bit like a mane, like a lion. Tip number 1, biggest mistake, hands down, that any new student, transfer first year, makes coming in, is that they either A, don't set up their TCNJ email address, period, or B, they set it up and they're like, I'll check it, and then 1, 2, 4 weeks go by, okay? This is a bad idea. Your TCNJ email is the official communication tool of the college. You will miss stuff if you don't A, set it up, and B, check it every 2 to 3 days. It's okay if you go on vacation, it's okay if you miss something here or there, but you do not want to be the student who calls me on July 19th, one day before on-campus orientation for my first years, and says, what? I had a housing application due, and oh, my health forms? What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're saying. Trust me, you don't want to be that person having that conversation with me. Plus, it'll be on a Sunday, and I won't be here, so not great. All right, also the first week in May, 2 things happen. So first is the Roar booklet gets mailed home. This is the only mailing that you get home to your physical copy mailing house, but it is a booklet that has so much information in it. Please take the time to read it, mom and dad, parents, guardians, you can read it as well. But really we've consolidated information from a lot of different offices who need to talk to you into one really comprehensive booklet. Make sure you take the time to read that. The second is that week, my Transition Times e-newsletters start. So I email you every 2 weeks with a, I think, super engaging, fun newsletter that is going to help you stay on track because there's a lot that goes on over the course of the 4 months, and I break it up into every 2 weeks. So you're gonna get an email from me typically on Wednesdays. It's gonna say, hey, here are the things you really need to focus on now. And then 2 weeks from now, it's gonna say, hey, everybody, me again, Lindsay again, here's all the things that you need to focus on the next 2 weeks, and so on and so forth. All of my data when I get your end of summer survey back points to this being such an incredibly helpful tool for you and able to kind of manage all that is being thrown at you throughout the course of the summer. So please read them. Again, only sent to your Tcg email address, also very important to check that. And parents and guardians, you do have the option to opt in and receive this directly to your inbox as well, and you can find that link on my website, the forum, excuse me, via the link on that website. So after the first week in May, things get a little bit quiet. You are, well, my transfer students, you're busy finishing up classes and finals for your fall, spring semester. First year students, you're probably taking AP exams and trying to round out senior year. Parents and guardians, I'm not sure what you're doing. Maybe May's a busy time for you, maybe it's not. We here on campus are getting ready for our seniors to graduate with commencement activities, hopefully, and rounding out the rest of the semester for our underclass students. So we get a little bit quiet in that 2-week window, but then the Tuesday after Memorial Day is when things really start to pick up, all right? And the Tuesday afterwards this year, it's May 26th, we are launching our online orientation. No, I did not create this in 1 week, thanks to our current situation. Online orientation has existed for a few years. It was actually created because we recognized that there were international students, out-of-state students who couldn't make it potentially to our one-day orientation program on campus. We really wanted to make sure that nobody was at a disadvantage. So I would say at this point, probably about 90% of the stuff that you have to do is facilitated through our online orientation. It's hosted in Canvas, which is our course management system. You're gonna have lots of classes, all your classes are gonna be in Canvas starting in the fall semester. So this is also a nice way to give you an introduction to how to view the tool and to be able to use it. It's gonna help you a bit with your, once you get started in the fall semester. And all of our students, so topics and pages and modules that are gonna be included in there for all of our students, placement testing, your housing application link, your link to your health forms, and your ID card photo upload. We'll talk about all of them within the next couple of slides. And then specifically for my first year students, you will have a link for your first semester worksheet and your summer reading assignment. And again, those are specifically for my first years. All right, placement testing. We administer placement exams in 3 areas: second language, calculus, and writing. We take those results to complete the pre-registration of your fall schedule. We're gonna talk a bit about pre-registration in a minute, but the most important thing to know is that we take care of the heavy lifting for you in that regard. But we use the results from your placement exams to be able to know which classes to put you into for the fall semester. First year students, this is gonna be run through your first semester worksheet that's gonna walk you through the steps of the placement testing. Transfer students, there are 2 super helpful electronic booklets that the Office of Records and Registration creates specifically to help you navigate that. The transfer ebook and the placement assessment booklet. Okay, transfer students, shut me down, but just for a minute, right? Don't go anywhere too far. First year students, your first semester worksheet. So I want you to think about the first semester worksheet in this way. If you had an opportunity to sit down one-on-one with your advisor or with your department chair, and that had a nice conversation about your interests, the type of topics you want to study when you're in school, how you did on your AP exams or what AP exams you sat for, your profile in high school and which courses you took, that one-on-one conversation, we unfortunately can't replicate that for all 1,700 or so out of our new first year students that are coming in. So we do that and we facilitate that through the worksheet, right? It is personalized to your major. So if you are an incoming nursing student, you are going to log in and you will log right into the nursing first semester worksheet. And it's gonna walk you through a series of questions to collect the information that we need to help pre-register you for your fall classes. Excuse me, some of the categories. Major requirements, these are classes that you have to take. per your major, right? Our first seminar program, which every incoming first-year student takes, those are capped at 18, they're smaller size. You have, I believe they're gonna ask you to choose your top 8 out of 70 choices, so make sure you take some time to look at those. Our liberal learning is our word for general education courses. So you have some requirements that all students have to meet in regards to general education or liberal learning. As some students have an opportunity to start those requirements in their first semester at the college. So some information will be prompted to you if appropriate for your major. Second language, if you do have to have a second language, and then also some information about IDS 102 and 103, which our information literacy course, it's an online module that all students have to take, and 103 is your community engaged learning requirement, your service component requirement. So the worksheet's gonna walk you through all those things. It looks kind of like this when you get it. That's gonna launch on Tuesday the 26th, and it's due back Monday, June 8th. It's a pretty quick turnaround. You get about 2 weeks. So some tips and some things to remember as you're going through it can be found in the Roar booklet that gets mailed home in early May. Okay, first year students, you get to go away for a minute, go get yourself another cup of tea. Transfer students, course registration for you looks a little bit different. So first things first, to the extent that you can control it, please have your previous institution send over your official transcripts as quickly as possible. Obviously, if you're somebody who's graduating with and you're earning your associate's degree this semester, that information does need to be included on your transcript, but to the extent that you can push it forward, we don't want to delay you in getting up and running with some of your fall classes, so make sure that institution sends it over. And then really important, you want to read that, I mentioned it already, the transfer ebook and the placement exam booklet, you want to read those first. That transfer ebook will answer probably 80% of the questions that you have. So make sure that you review those as you start to read instructions for putting into your shopping cart the types of courses that you may want to take for the fall semester. You are transfer students, each one of you is assigned an academic evaluator that lives in the Office of Records and Registration. This person reviewed your transcript, it brought your credits over and can answer specific questions about why certain credits may have transferred over and why others didn't, if you're having questions about that once we do get your official transcripts in. So that link that I've provided there, you can go there, look it up by your major, and the individual you can send an email or call to ask questions pertaining to your specific situation with your credits. We will still, again, pre-register you throughout the month of June for your classes, and then typically what we do at transfer orientation at the end of June is that's the time where you can confirm or make any changes that you need to that on-campus session. Lastly, still very importantly for you, you still need to check your TCNJ email address as often. I typically don't have as much of an issue with my transfer students getting them on board with checking it as I do with my first years. Okay, everybody come back. Everybody back? Good. All right, we're settled. Okay, first years, transfers, parents. Here we go. Housing. So these links will give you links to all of the housing residence halls on campus. I split them up by first year experience, so all of our first year students will be housed there. We have a handful of residence halls for our sophomore year experience, or SYE, and then upper class experience, our UCE program, is for juniors and seniors who are opting to live on campus instead of moving off campus. So those links have a lot of information about the rooms, virtual tours. We are a cohort model, so we do group people based on cohort in the residence halls, and that's what that looks like. Then in terms of applications, so the application for my first year students is going to open on that Tuesday, May 26th with online orientation. You have until June 16th to submit that, so it's about 3 weeks, all right? And then the roommate request is actually open a bit longer. So the way that it's going to work this year, if you have somebody that you would like to room with, you are going to log into your housing application and create a roommate group and follow the instructions to do so. Do not wait to submit the housing application until Sunday, June 26th. Your housing application needs to get in by the 16th, but you have a couple of additional weeks if you were interested in finding somebody or you knew somebody to room with. You have a little bit more time to do that. You'll notice that date is after first year student orientation. Word of the wise, I would just be really cautious about coming in with somebody. We find that the people who try to randomly find somebody online to room with, those don't always go so great. And the people who think that they're friends and they're like, yeah, it'll be great, we'll live together. They started and they live together, and then there's problems because, well, maybe you guys were better friends with separate spaces. So just really give some thought to living with somebody. I always encourage you, if you want to live with your best, if you want to stay friends with your best friend, don't live with them, right? So some things to think about in the roommate well, but we really encourage students not to kind of come in feeling all the pressure of having to do that. Plus, and I hate this about this generation a little bit, you're making really fast snap judgments if you're trying to find social media to go on and randomly judge somebody and say, oh, hey, you look cool, like let's room together. Like you don't really know that person. So if you're going to do it, really take the time to know people and not make those snap judgments. But we really do encourage all of our students to, I'm not gonna say go random, but to really fill out the housing survey and see, because you never know, maybe it'll be your best friend and you never even knew it. Notification, you will find out first year students Thursday, July 30th, and all of this is accessed through your online orientation. Transfer students. Your application timeline is a bit different and process. Same links to kind of get you there. You still have to go through online orientation to do that, but your housing application opens the first week in May. So in addition to setting up your TCNJ email, which you will need for the housing application, also important, you're gonna want to go in and do that. The deadline is rolling, but general rule of thumb, the earlier that you submit the application, the higher your chances are of getting placed. And they will begin notifying transfer students of housing assignments on Wednesday, May 27th, and that will continue throughout the course of the summer as they place people. Regardless, first year transfer, commuter, residential, everybody coming in needs to do the pre-entrance health requirements or our forms, regardless again, whether you're living on campus or not. Not completing them is a big deal. You will not be able to move on campus if you're living on campus. You will not be able to register for classes if they are not in by July 15th. Plus there will be fees if you don't get them in after that date. So all the forms you can access through online orientation. This is something that's really easy to do earlier. A lot of people come to me and they say, hey, Lindsay, how can I kind of get ahead a little bit? The health forms are a great way to do that, to be able to see, and then you can make that appointment with your primary care doctor. The Tcg Id Card, this gets you into buildings, it swipes you into residence halls, academic classrooms. If you have meal plans on campus, it'll get you into some of the dining options. It's your kind of catch-all, right, your Tcg ID, so to speak. And we have you submit a photo online for that. So the information and the instructions are gonna be in your online orientation. There's separate deadlines for the transfer and the first year students. There's also some rules, all right? So it has to be a white background, can't be wearing sunglasses, can't take a little selfie of yourself, have to have somebody else take it. So make sure you follow all those so your photo doesn't get denied. And then you're gonna have an opportunity to pick that up at your on-campus orientation date in June or in July, whether you're transfer or first year. Mini Roscoe tip here, don't forget with orientation to bring your government issued photo ID because you will need to show that in order to pick up your TCNJ ID card. And I always have students every year who get really upset because they didn't do that. So another tip there. All right, last part for May, and just something to put on your radar. This is open to any incoming student, first year or transfer, is our pre-welcome week programs. So we run 3 of them, Operation Lead, Operation Be Well, and the Inclusive Excellence Leadership Academy. These are all 4-day, 3-night programs that butt up to the start of Welcome Week. So this year's dates, they're gonna run Sunday, August 16th to Wednesday, August 19th. And you do have the opportunity, if you are living on campus, to move into your residence hall early. That is a perk to the program, but really it's a great opportunity that if you're kind of nervous and anxious and want a little bit of a slower start before being totally thrown into the thing that is college, or for my transfer students, college at TCNJ, it's a really great opportunity to meet some new students, to gain lots of leadership experiences. They do ropes courses. Each one has kind of specific programming, but then they also overlap, and it's just such an incredible opportunity. So more information to come on that, but just wanted to give you a heads up that that information was coming. How are we doing so far? I can't tell. My camera guy gave me a thumbs up, but we're gonna keep moving here. June, pre-registration, transfer orientation, and summer reading. So pre-registration takes place in June. So after all of those really kind of big, crazy May things get started, your worksheet's finished, you've done what you needed to do on the course registration side of things to give us our information, you're working on your housing application, you've started your health forms, you've submitted your photo, then it gets a little quiet. And we get to breathe, take a deep breath. And what's happening in June on our end, even though we look a little bit quieter, is that we are feverishly working to pre-register you for your fall classes. So that's taking place throughout the month of June, while hopefully there's high school graduations and proms and those types of things. And my transfer students, you're having cool opportunities and working and taking a deep breath after your spring course load. Important notes, transfer students, again, I know a majority of the content that you're getting to your TCNJ email, but I don't know every office that's sending you information. And when we get into June, for my transfer students in particular, the academic side of the house, some majors are going to be emailing you with questions about preferences for your schedule. It's really important that you check your email if you're one of those offices. Don't panic if you're not. There's other departments on campus that you won't hear from them until orientation day, and then they're going to have that conversation with you in person. But I don't want you missing anything. And then first year students, just so you know, what we're doing in June is we're pre-registering you, but then we will get your AP scores. So if you took an AP exam in May, those scores, well, make sure you get them sent to us by College Board, very important step. But 2, we'll receive those, depends with the July 4th holiday, either right before or right after. And the 2 weeks before your orientation in late July or mid to late July, we'll be reviewing the AP scores and making adjustments to your schedule if it impacts your courses. Also important to check your TCNJ email because some offices will be reaching out, academic offices will be reaching out to you with preferences at that point as well. All right, tip number 2, my boy Roscoe. Personalized, collaborative, rigorous education. That's why you are here. I cannot tell you the number of people who come to me and they're like, well, so-and-so is also my major and also coming in as a first year student, but they got this and I don't know where I am and I didn't hear from X and Y. Woo! Take a breath, okay? Your journey, your path, your process is different from everybody else's at the college and different from anybody else who might be coming in as your particular major. Take a breath. Your journey is your journey. Focus on you, and everybody's going to get there in the right way. But hopefully that's one of the reasons that you picked us, right? Because we are really so focused on providing that individual experience for the students. Transfer student orientation hopefully will be on Tuesday, June 23rd. We're going to validate and finalize your fall schedule. You're going to get to meet faculty, staff, incoming students in your school. Parents and guests, yes, absolutely join us. There's programming for you as well. It's a really nice day that we put together on campus. The schedule will be available in early June. The day typically runs 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. I know it's a Tuesday. I have a lot of students who work and a lot of parents who work, but if you have the date early enough and you can take off, it would be really worthwhile, and I think it's a good notice of your use of your time to be able to come to that. And then my first year students. So you don't have a lot going on in June, but you do have a summer reading assignment. So if you are going on vacation or you have some downtime and you're looking to do some reading, this year's summer reading book is Sweat by Lynn Nottage, and there's going to be more information about the assignment in your online orientation when that opens at the end of May. But there you go. All right. Oh, this is my favorite. Roscoe tip number 3. Hey, TCNJ faculty and staff, we're just like you. We like to take vacation. Some of our faculty are doing research and leading study abroad trips. This is a really time for a lot of us, while we're still very busy, to take a collective breath. So please be cognizant of that when you're calling and you're emailing all summer. You are our top priority. We will reply as quickly as possible, but we're also human too, and we like to catch our breath and take a little bit of time, especially after everything that's been going on this semester. Other very important thing to note, we're closed on Fridays all summer, so if you send an email on Thursday night at 8 o'clock at night, don't expect anybody to really take a look at that until Monday, but if we don't respond right away, that's why. Okay, July, final transcripts for our first year students are going to be due July 1st, and then that fall tuition bill, all students are going to be at the end of that last week in July, but really the big event in mid-July is first year student orientation. You are assigned a date based on your academic major. There you go, if you're taking a look at the slide. We have 4 days of orientation, Monday through Thursday, and those are the majors, the schools and the majors on the days that they're coming. Our School of Education students attend based on their content area. So for example, if you're an elementary education and psychology major, you're gonna come on your content day, which is psychology. Psychology is in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, and so that means you're coming on Wednesday, July 22nd, right? Other example, secondary education, math. Math is the content area. Math is in the School of Science. You're coming on Tuesday, July 21st. If you have our open option students, so all of our education students that don't have a content area, as well as our speech pathology majors, are coming on Monday, the 20th. If you have questions about that, my contact information is at the end and you can shoot me an email. Parents, again, yes, absolutely, please come. There's great programming. It's also really important for you because, and for my transfer parents as well, we don't have any programming during Welcome Week for you in August. So this is really your opportunity to connect with those offices, with those resources I listed above, and to be able to get some programming and have you feel comfortable that your son or your daughter is in good hands here at the College of New Jersey. Schedule oodles will be available in early July. And then we get to August. I can't believe we're in August already. How am I doing? Okay, pretty good. One or a few more minutes. So welcome week and move-in. So residential move-in, if you're living on campus, whether first year or transfer student, is going to take place on Thursday, August 20th. And that's the first day of welcome week. I really have a hard time explaining and showing all of you and talking about the magic that is welcome week. So these are some words that I had to put on a slide to talk about it. Essentially, it's your kind of immersion, true immersion experience at TCNJ. We have over 100 mandatory and optional sessions. The upper class students don't come back till Sunday, so you get the run of campus to yourselves for a few days. It's going to introduce you to our mission and values as a college. It's going to inform you of the expectations that we have of you as new members of our TCNJ family. And then there's tons of info sessions and opportunities to learn about student organizations on campus, ways to get involved. Yes, some of those dreaded icebreakers, we'll call them team building activities. Don't worry. About half of you will hate them, but you will bond and make new friends in how much you hate the icebreakers, but those are coming too. It's just really such a great opportunity. It's funny, when I poll students on campus, when you ask a senior or a junior what their top 3 favorite TCNJ memories are, Welcome Week is at the top of the list. And it really just is, my words to it don't do it any justice. We're actually working on a little video to kind of showcase that, but there, that link that I did give will have the highlight video from last year to give you a taste of that. So 4 days, oodles of fun, and then you start classes on Tuesday, August 25th, which is wild. It will be here before we know it. All right, in the essence of time, I really cut out these slides, but the takeaway that I want you to know about fall 2020, once Welcome Week is over and the first day of classes starts, you're not done. It's not like you're magically, I'm transitioned and ready to go on the first day of class. We do have a handful of programs that support students throughout their first semester at the college, like in an extended orientation type way. So just know that that's coming, and there's more information that's going to follow about that in due time. And that's both academically inside the classroom as well as extracurricularly and socially. And then my last tip. So this is normally the part where I look out into the audience and everybody's like, actually, wait, I think I'll get to him in a second. This is the part where it feels very overwhelming. I just went through everything. I also went through it much faster in this video than I normally do in person. You're probably excited. Hopefully you're really excited. But now you're probably a little nervous, a little overwhelmed. That was a lot of information. There's a lot coming. And I think the big takeaway for you to know is that we have you. There is not a single person I have met on this campus who does not get up and come to TCNJ and work hard to support the students who are educating themselves here to be able to go on and change the world. So you need to know that as overwhelming as it is, you have more help than you could even begin to realize, and embrace all of those emotions as you start to go through this journey here over the course of the next couple of months. This is the GIF I was talking about. This is what most people look like if I'm not talking to an empty audience. Breathe, it's okay. This is normally the time where I ask for questions, and I can't do that right now. So this is how to find me. My website, studenttransitions.tcnj.edu. My email, that's probably going to be the best way to go over the course of the next couple of weeks, is just studenttransitions@tcnj.edu. I am not everywhere on social media, it's too much, but I am on Instagram. So if you want to give me a follow, we're going to try to do our best over the next couple of weeks just to really provide as much content from our students as possible to give you a sense of what it's like to be a student here. I like to think I'm fun and engaging and have lots of answers to your questions, but at the end of the day, I know as students, you want to hear from students. So we're going to work on some things, given the current situation that we're all in, to try to give you an opportunity to connect more with the students, especially. I have 75 orientation leaders and Griffin mentors on my staff, so keep an eyeball out for information coming about opportunities to connect with them, and following us on Instagram is a great way to do that. I think that's it. So congratulations again. Thank you so much for watching this video, and best of luck for those of you who are still looking to make your decision, and for those of you who have already said yes to TCNJ. I cannot wait to meet you over the summer, and we can't wait to have you here in the fall. Thanks.